Welcome to the Evolving Healer. I'm C.Metoyer, your host. A little bit about myself. I'm currently a graduate student on the journey of healing myself while helping others heal along the journey. A little bit about the podcast. We'll be sharing real life experiences while you're going on your journey and while I'm going on my journey, being true, authentic, and pure. Welcome to the Evolving Healer, guys. I'm C.Metoyer, your host, a mental health counseling graduate student on the journey of learning, becoming, and healing. First of all, Happy New Year. Hope this new year brings you guys nothing but peace and joy and happiness as you walk into your purpose and what you're called to do. Today, we'll be shifting to purpose doesn't pause for responsibilities. Something that not only I teach, but something that I'm living and learning myself. Learning to balance work, school, business, and purpose while still becoming. So if you're listening to this while driving, studying, feeling behind, whatever the case may be, questioning yourself in the process, this episode's for you. Because sometimes balance doesn't always come with ease. Sometimes purpose doesn't mean pressure. Sometimes we are called to a season or a time in our life, and we still have to show up tired. Personally, in my life, I feel like that's where I'm at. Called, tired, and still showing up. For myself, it's so many days that I want to just stay around the house and sleep. But guess what? I have a purpose to fulfill. I have to go out and meet with my clients and be impactful to them and help them along their healing journeys or whatever may have you. And I had to learn that every day doesn't look the same when you work in mental health. One day you may follow your routine or your schedule or your true process. But guess what? That next day, you may have a client that's going through something traumatic to where you have to shift your entire day. So just understanding that, trusting God even when you don't feel rested, even when you feel like, hey, man, I'm so tired. Like, am I supposed to be doing this? Is this what I'm called to do? But sometimes in life, you have those clients that you'll meet along the way that'll drop that little nugget in your spirit and give you that extra push that you need. Like the other day, I had two of my kiddos that was like, Mr. Chris, we want to be your kids. Take us home with you. And I'm like, I can't take y'all home. And their mom was like, Mr. Chris don't want any kids right now. I'm like, yeah, you're right about that. But it's just that type of thing that gives you that push to know that you're in what you're called to do. It allows you to realize that you're being impactful. You're helping those individuals. And that's all I needed because that day and the day before had been a really rough day. And just them giving me that extra boost and uplifting my spirit was everything that I needed to get me over that hill and get me through the rest of the day. Little did they know I had to endure so much the day prior. So when it comes to, like emotions while balancing work, school, and just walking in my purpose while managing a business, trying to maintain my podcast, and everything that God is calling me to in this season, I'm honestly honored. I am thankful for this opportunity. I'm thankful for this journey that God has placed me on, in spite of the challenges that I may have had to overcome. It's a deep sense of gratitude for myself because this is something that I've prayed for long and hard. So I tend to just bask in the moment and be grateful and to understand that this is just the beginning of where he's going to take me and where he's trying to take me. Right now, working as a mental health professional and still maintaining school, coming to my last semester of coursework, I'm like, okay, everything that I'm learning in school, I'm now putting it into practice. And it's a sense of peace for myself because it's like, okay, I feel like my degree is finally paying off. I don't go to work and I don't feel bogged down at work because it honestly doesn't feel like a job because this is something that I enjoy. This is something I'm passionate about. So honestly, this season of my life, in spite of myself not getting enough rest many nights because my brain is constantly running on what to do next. I am truly grateful and honored to be on this journey. And I know that many more greater opportunities are aligned and coming in the future. And, in life, there's many unspoken expectations. Like, we decide to walk in our purpose and we think that everything is going to line up perfectly for us. In some cases, it does. Some cases, it don't. Understanding that in life, everything's not going to work out in the essence that we want it to. So understanding that sometimes you have to go through to get to where you're trying to go. Sometimes you have to make small sacrifices and take big sacrifices. I know for myself, in this season of my life, I had to take many sacrifices because my previous job working in sales, I became exhausted because I knew that that wasn't my purpose. That wasn't my why in life. And God kept showing me, like, I've given you the vision. It's time for you to walk into what I'm calling you to. I'm going to continue to take you through these challenges until you go where I'm trying to take you. And for myself, I had to allow fear to creep in and be obedient to God's word and understand, like, hey, God would never leave nor forsake me. He would never put more on me than I can bear. And understand that in spite of it all, it'll all work out. So for myself, it was me honestly taking a pay cut. And I was scared. I'm like, Lord, you sure this is something that I need to do? Because at the time I was financially responsible for 2 homes, as well as, having truck notes, other bills and things of that nature. So it was like, God, you sure this is something that you want me to do? Like, I don't know. And it was just like on my job, I just kept going through, going through, going through. And it was like, okay, my mama and them didn't like the job that I was working. That's like, this is a dangerous job. You need to get out of there. And honestly, it took a lot of conviction and me being disciplined and being obedient and trusting God in my middle. And honestly, me stepping out on faith and believing and trusting Him has been the best thing I could have done, because I had to realize that sometimes in life, money isn't everything. Myself making over $100,000 a year, I had to realize, like, I'm not making that amount now, but this the happiest I've been in a while. So me making that kind of money still wasn't bringing me the peace that I desired. I still wasn't walking in my purpose and what I was called to do. It was a many days I was bogged down, didn't want to be bothered, didn't want to go to work. So now, yes, I took a pay cut, but yes, I made a sacrifice to get to my end goal of being a licensed professional counselor. So I had to understand my why and understand that sometimes God will test your faith just to see what you'll do. And guess what? God will still bless you in your middle, because He has been blessing me more abundantly now that I've walked out on faith and trusted Him in the process. And understanding that sometimes you still have to clock in even when you're tired. I still have to submit assignments even when I don't feel like it, because guess what? I've come too far to stop now. And understanding that still showing up for what you're called to do is integral. Because if you give up or you stop showing up, you're not being obedient to what God called you to do. So I had to understand that. So right now, it's just me learning to balance being a mental health professional, being a mental health counseling graduate student, being a healer, being a leader, having my own podcast, now launching my own clothing brand. So I'm juggling a lot of different roles in my life and understanding that it's okay for me to still be human. I still have emotions, and understanding that I have to make sure I keep my mental health intact to ensure that I can show up for my clients, to ensure that I show up for those around me, to be impactful, to leave a legacy behind. So honestly, like, some people may ask, which role is most demanding? Honestly, I feel like all of them are very demanding. But it's emotionally me just being strong and understanding that my why in life. Like I always tell you, if you don't know your why in life, it's not gonna be an easy journey for you. And understanding that It's okay to be tired. It's okay to feel all of those different emotions. But what is not okay to do is give up on what your hope, dreams, and aspirations are. And along this journey, I had to unlearn a lot of behaviors and understand that me resting and getting enough sleep isn't a sign of weakness. Me overextending myself and things of that nature, I had to learn that it was okay for me to step back and take a break. I had to realize that slowing down doesn't mean that you're falling behind or you're a failure. In life, a lot of people like to create that false narrative of, oh, if you take a break from this, oh, you're a failure. Like, no, it's okay for you to take that break. If you're tired, you're tired. Because guess what? If you're not getting enough rest and your body isn't getting the rest that it needs, you're gonna become bogged down. You're gonna become exhausted. You're gonna you may even lead to burnout. It's a many emotions that may provoke. You may even fall into a depression because your body is physically, mentally, emotionally drained. And I had to understand that if I'm tired, I need to take the proper precautions and get the rest that I need to ensure that I can still show up for myself. If I can't show up for myself, I can show up for my clients. I can show up for those around me. And understanding that I had to understand that my plate is full, too full in this moment. And understanding what my plate running over and being too full can lead to. Understanding that it can cost my peace. It can cost my happiness. And overall, it can turn my growth into pressure and my purpose into performance. So understanding that it can lead to me being burned out. It can lead to me being exhausted. It can lead to me being depressed or stressed out, which leads to other factors of school falling off, me not being able to show up for my clients, me not being able to show up for my business. So understanding that it's okay to slow down. And understanding like what is, you know, survival versus stewardship. For a lot of us, work isn't just about fulfillment. It's about survival. We're focused on the monetary way of things and the bills that we have that comes with having to work. So a lot of us aren't really working for a true purpose. We're working to pay bills. We're working to take care of children. We're working to take care of, paying for school, whatever the case may be. And understanding that your responsibilities don't stop because you're on a journey of healing and becoming. And sometimes we feel guilty because our current job doesn't feel or look like our final destination. And for myself, I had to really understand that my previous jobs have taught me a lot. And I had to understand because I wasn't called to that job doesn't mean that it wasn't necessary for my journey. The jobs that I had to endure to get to where I am today taught me a lot of discipline, taught me how to be a business owner, taught me how to be consistent, taught me how to set boundaries. So understanding that a job can teach you some of the character you need to get to what you're called to get to your purpose. And understanding that your purpose is sometimes formed in places that you don't intend on being in forever. And understanding that sometimes your current season is what'll push you into your destiny. And understanding that you're not behind. Every step that you take is a step to get you to the next level, to get you to the next dimension. And understanding that your stewarding in these seasons is very important. Understanding that, yes, we have to pay bills, but understanding the why you're in the position you're in. Understanding what is it instilling into you to get to your purpose, to get to your destiny. But honestly, last season taught me a lot of lessons. It taught me how to be stronger, be more vulnerable, to be more transparent, to be more vocal. And the season that I'm in now is a season of thankfulness for provision, for being aware that I'm still learning and becoming. And overall, receiving my peace back that I had once lost due to a job. And understanding that my previous jobs have shaped me into who I am today and instilled a lot of great things into me. It may have came with many ups and downs, many highs and lows, many days I didn't want to go there because it wasn't fulfilling, but it allowed me to be where I am today. It taught me how to be patient, humility, and overall time management. It helped me build my character and understood what I needed to endure to get to where I am. So if you're in a season of just feeling stuck, you feel like you're working so hard while trying to achieve your dreams, just know you're not stuck. You're preparing, you're becoming. And overall, it's just a journey. Be patient with yourself, give yourself grace, and understand that every day may not look the same. Every day may not feel good. But what can you do to help yourself get over that hill? And understanding that in life, it comes with many challenges. But it's up to you to not give up and to understand your why, to continue to push and set boundaries and overall understand what is it going to take to get me to where I'm trying to get to. So we're going to shift into like, what does school look like for me? Balancing school while being in a helping profession, being in school while still healing and learning myself, studying while discovering myself, preparing to help others regulate while learning how to regulate myself. And let's be honest, sometimes imposter syndrome does show up. Because the other day I was working with a client and I'm like, we had a great session last week. This week, the session was completely different. And when I showed up, it was a lot going on. So I'm like, okay, what is it? I'm talking to the mom and she's telling me what's going on and how she just can't deal with it anymore, things of that nature. So, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, okay, God, how can I help this child? What is it that I'm doing wrong or indifferent? How can I help this mother help her child? Like, what is it? We had a great session last week. This week I had some things planned for us to do, and I'm like, okay, it's gonna be a great day for us, and completely opposite. And in that moment, I was like, I was thinking. My mind was racing, and I'm like, I called my team lead, and we talked about it, and she was just like, no, you're doing a great job on this case. Like, it's just only so much you can do. So in that moment, I had to take a step back and reflect on what I did over this past month since I've been working with this child. And the child is very receptive to me, very understanding, very respectful. So I'm like, okay, what is it? Is it the home environment? And I'm just trying to figure it out. But I had to understand that I did my part in assisting him and getting him the support and the guidance he needed. Because later that day, mom called me back and was like, hey, Mr. Chris, I hope you're still gonna be working with him because I don't want anyone else working with him. And so in that moment, it made me feel good because it's like, okay, so mom sees that I'm being impactful. I'm being helpful to her child. And I had to understand that as a mental health professional, like I said before, every day doesn't look the same. Every day is not going to feel the same. And understanding that your job is to save their life in that moment. What happens after, it's only so much you can do. But you can continue to be of good support to the family as well as to their child. So I had to understand like he's still here, he's still capable. He's just having a tough time now. So I had to take a step back and understand that don't think that I'm a failure is something that I'm called to. And understanding that in life you don't become qualified by being perfect. You become qualified by being present, being teachable, willing to grow, being transparent, being authentic, being pure, and just overall showing up for your clients. And so I had to learn that and teach myself that and understand that it's only so much you can do and you've done your part. And understanding that I'm becoming, not pretending. And at the end of the day, I'm still human. I have my own emotions. So it's okay for me to feel those emotions. So I've been learning to bask in and sit in my own emotions and think about my own thoughts and feelings overall. And understanding school has been a journey. It's been very informative, very impactful. I could definitely say this master's degree has taught me more than undergraduate has ever taught me. So school has taught me that I'm much stronger than I ever thought I was. I'm more human than I ever realized, and understanding that it's okay to feel whatever emotion that I feel. And understanding that how do I navigate healing while being a student? And like I said before, giving myself grace and remembering that I don't have to be perfect. That it's okay for me to still heal while being a healer. It's okay for me to seek counseling, to seek guidance and support when needed. But it's important for myself to be self-aware that I need that support or guidance. Because guess what? If I don't seek that support or guidance that I need, I can't show up for my clients. I can't be my best version of myself and be impactful. So it's important for me to show up for myself. When it comes to like imposter syndrome and just overall being strong, imposter syndrome can be real. You constantly question yourself like, is this something I'm supposed to be doing? Because in that moment, that one child, you feel like you're not hipping. But deep down inside, you're really hipping that child. Just like this little boy that I've been working with. Last week, we had an immaculate session. That was the first session that we probably had that was just amazing. Behaviors was on point, everything. Focus, in tune. During the session, he even pulled out a pencil and paper and took notes. I was really impressed. This child has never pulled out pencil and paper to take notes. Very in tune with what I was instilling into him and what skills I was working on with him. So in that moment, I felt amazing when I left his house. I'm like, what? But overall, when I think about my future, it's a lot of fears that comes with it. And one of the fears is not being enough, but also having faith that God wouldn't call me to something that he didn't intend for my life. And overall for myself, another fear is just overall setting boundaries for myself and my clients. Understanding that it's okay for me to have boundaries and understanding that me showing up and my boundaries are two different things. Understanding that I have to make sure that I keep my mental intact to ensure that I can continue to show up for them. And understanding that I have to continue to motivate and push myself, even in the moments that I don't feel like it. And understanding that readiness isn't about perfection, it's about willingness. And understanding that purpose can be it can be many ups and downs. Purpose doesn't demand burnout. Purpose unfolds in seasons, not sprints. So understanding that sometimes we tend to rush the process and rush to where we want to be versus trusting where God has us at in a season. And I had to understand that I wanted things to work on my timing and work when I wanted it to work. But I had to understand that God's going to lead me where he wants me to go when he wants me to get there. I had to understand that I had to go through my 2 previous jobs to instill and understand and gain additional skill sets to bring into being a mental health professional. So I had to endure a lot of things. I had to learn how to manage, how to be patient. I had to learn how to just overall be a leader and lead from the forefront. And understanding that God is not in a rush, even when I am. And understanding that purpose doesn't mean that God's going to just pour out everything at once. God's going to give us the right things at the right time in the right season. The season that I'm in, God is unloading things gradually. Everything that my heart desires, I don't have in this current moment, but it's slowly getting there. But I have to continue to be obedient and steadfast to what he's calling me to. I have to walk into what he's calling me to. I have to trust him in my middle, even when it feels hard, even when I feel like giving up. And understanding my why. And understanding that purpose isn't about the arrival. It's about the obedience. And then understanding, how do you understand that you're moving out of purpose? You understand that you're moving out of purpose when you become bogged down, when you feel drained. That's how I knew I had to shift from my previous roles because I wasn't happy. My peace was stolen. My joy was gone. And I had to understand that, God, what are you calling me to? What are you doing? What are you trying to teach me in this season? And then I had to take a step back and realize that it was time for me to move into greater. Understanding that I had to make a sacrifice to get to my greater. And God will give you vision in seasons that you never imagined. When you taking a pay cut here, but guess what? God gonna give you the vision and make up for those finances that you missing. Trust the process. Believe. If you don't believe in you, who gonna believe in you? And understanding that when you try to skip the process and rush the process, you tend to miss the lesson that God is trying to instill into you. And understanding that lessons are meant to prepare us for what's next. Understand that you're not behind, you're not failing, you are not late. You are becoming, and becoming takes time. Understand that God will give you what you need when you least expect it. Believe in yourself, keep the faith, keep pushing. Even when the times get hard, trust God in the middle. Steward well. Be obedient. Continue to push through on that current job, in your current situation. I understand that may not be your destiny. That may not be your end zone. That may not be where you want to stay at. But trust God in the middle and understand that it's a reason that I'm here. It's a reason for this season. Again, thank you guys. I'm C.Metoyer, your host. Thank you for tuning in on today's episode. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe at the Evolving Healer Podcast. Follow us at the Evolving Healer Podcast on Instagram. As well, don't forget to shop at theevolvinghealer.org for our new book called Pieces of Me.